All right. Welcome back to Prepping with Sarge. So this was, woke up this morning and I thought we'd get together and do a little lunchtime chat about Coinbase IPO, which is launching today. It's a direct public offering. So it's pretty windy, unfortunately, today, so it may affect sound, and if it does, you guys will have to let me know, and maybe we'll just have to cut it short. But it is what it is. I don't have a good indoor location to shoot at right now, and didn't feel like sitting in my car. But anyways, happy Wednesday, happy lunch. This is Prepping with Sarge. Do my little intro here. We'll see if anybody wants to jump in. So Sarge is not a military title. Sarge is not a police rank. It is just a nickname. I release videos twice a week at least, and I've been throwing in these live streams sometimes at lunch. Always talk about topics related to preparedness and survival, including financial survival. Sometimes we do wilderness foraging during the lunchtime breaks, things like that. And if you're brand new to the channel, please consider subscribing. If you're returning, please remember to drop a thumbs up at some point during the live stream. And if you could, watch it to the very end, because that actually helps me to, we're trying to get our watch hours in. So different location in case you couldn't tell today. Just trying to, probably should have went the other way and gotten out of the wind, but we'll see how this works. So Coinbase launching. Yeah, so I just checked right before I went live, and it has not launched yet. It will at some point today. I put in my bid, and the way, first of all, not financial advice. I'm just a YouTuber who does this for your entertainment. Not here to give you any kind of financial advice. Please don't take it that way. You have to make your own decisions regarding how you spend your money, and you have to live with the consequences of how that pans out for you, okay? So we're just talking, this is just for fun. We're having a little financial fun talk, not financial advice talk, okay? And so how this works on a direct listing IPO, if you've never done this, is the stock price pre-market will be listed. They'll give you an idea of, what it's gonna start at typically, but as soon as it launches, past performance is no guarantee of future results, but typically it will launch on an IPO. It'll kind of shoot right up real quick, which is why people love IPOs. But then a lot of times it'll get real volatile during the day, because there's also private investors who already own shares in companies usually before it launches like that. So sometimes they will take that profit, which is a nice little profit, and jump out, and it'll drop the price back down. So usually in the first day of trading on an IPO, there's quite a bit of volatility. And as you guys know, because I've said this before, I like volatility. Volatility creates opportunity, right? That's one of my mindsets in terms of, I've got my investments that I do long-term. I've got stuff that, an IRA and 403B that I don't touch, like that, just keeps getting reinvested into like passive dividend incomes. But I also have some side accounts that I like to do for fun, day trading, swing trading, things like that. And that's where, if you're good and if you're lucky, you can make a little bit of money. And I see it as a side hustle, right? So when I do that stuff, right, I only spend the amount of money that I'm willing to lose, right? Don't ever spend the money that you need. Yeah, well, it's going to be launching soon, so if you're going to do it today, you want to get it on it soon. Scrapping, hoarding, tinkering fun. I do this as a little bit of a side hustle, so it basically creates another income stream for me. And I never spend money that I'm going to need for mortgage or bills or anything like that. This is just like fun money, So we're not talking big dollars. We're really not. I don't have big dollars. But I've done, and a lot of people have done really well with the cryptocurrencies in the last 2 months. I mean, it has been like, that's what I use, Robinhood. I'm not going to get into too much. I'm not necessarily going to recommend Robinhood because of problems that have happened in the last year. And I'm not going to get into that today. I probably am at some point going to move my stuff out to Webull. But yeah, that's what I'm using right now is Robinhood. I'm going to turn around because there's a car up there that I don't want to, whatever they're doing, I don't want to bother them. So I hate to use these words, but crypto has been like a gold rush, and it has outperformed metals by a long shot in the last 2 months. So much so that I'm pretty much like, I've gotten back my original investments in crypto, taken it out, and now it's just like an ATM. I just go in there when it's up. Yeah, there's some issues there. Going back to the GameStop was one, and then there was last year there was an incident where basically people couldn't make trades because they were having problems, and that can't be happening. If you're running like a brokerage app, you can't do that. You have to be able to provide. So I mean, I don't know what the long term will look like for Robinhood, but I can't in good conscience send somebody there right now. Maybe if things get better, I would do that, but right now I'm not going to. In fact, I'm probably going to be looking at moving my money out to Webull. So back to the crypto thing, I basically use it as an ATM now, and it's just like when profits are up, I take out a certain amount, and that's, that can be my lunch money, that can be my gold and silver money, whatever. But there seems to be this war or rivalry between precious metals and crypto, and it really doesn't even need to be like that. You can do both. And I don't flip my precious metals usually. If it has a huge price spike, then I'm willing to unload some of my stack for a profit. But for the most part, I'm holding on to it at least until retirement. Maybe when I pass on, it just go to my stepdaughter or whatever. It's not something that I really worry about. It's one of my investments, and probably some of the best advice I ever got was, got a wallet for Bitcoin, just need to find the paper version of it to access it. Yeah, so I need to probably talk about that too. Like, when I talk about that I'm flipping crypto, I'm talking about the shares of crypto, right? So like Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, and Dogecoin. Those are the four that I typically mess around with. And it's just another tool. Yeah, I made a ton of money on Dogecoin. And how I got started on this, like going back to that rivalry with metals versus crypto, was I was always kind of anti-crypto. I saw it as fake money or whatever, and that it didn't have a good future. And then I decided, I'm going to play around with a little bit of money and see what I can do. And in the first night, I made $100 profit, and I was like, oh, okay, this is what I've been missing out on. Now the next night, lost a little bit of money, right? So there's a lot of volatility to it, but when you learn how to play that volatility a little bit, that's how I started doing well. So when it dips way down, and I've got a price point in my head that I look for, like right now, just as an example, Bitcoin share price is at 63,000, but I buy fractional shares, right? So I'm not buying $63,000 worth of Bitcoin. Yeah, so when it dips down, if it dropped down right now back to 59,000, I probably would be buying. If it keeps riding up, hey Thai family, it's good to see you. If it keeps going up, like let's say it hits 67,000, I'll take a little bit more profits off the top. So I think one of the mistakes that I see people doing with cryptocurrencies is in fact, I've got friends that have done this. They buy in, like they say, I'm going to buy $10,000 worth of Bitcoin, and I'm just going to hold on to it forever, or shares of Bitcoin, and I'm going to hold on to it forever. And then, of course, it is volatile, right? So it will drop down at some point, and when it does, then they get frustrated. I take profits off that. That's how I use it, and I'm not saying you have to use it the same way I do, but I use it as like an ATM machine. By doing that, there's no risk for me. I've already taken my money out. I've already gotten back my initial investment. So now it's all just pure profit. And I just, when it's up, I take money out. If it goes down enough, I might buy back in, but so far it's working pretty good. I do think, cautionary tale, I do think that we are, we're due for a correction. Okay. So people, just like stocks can't always go up. I do think that the cryptocurrencies are going to be due for a correction at some point here. And I can't tell you when that's going to happen because I don't know. If I did, I'd be much better at this than I am. But This is why I also say keep a little bit of cash back, right? So that if you see that dip, if there's a correction, that can be a great entry point. Now for the Coinbase IPO, I don't even use the Coinbase app, but it does. I did a lot of research on this yesterday, and people that I respect that do give financial advice spoke very highly of Coinbase app, that this is a really good platform, and pretty much everybody that I read said this looks good for at least a long-term investment. That's not how I'm doing it. I've got my money in, or I put my bid in, right? So the way that works for an IPO is they'll tell you in the morning, it's, we think it's going to start out at $200. What's up, Rob Gibbs? Thanks for joining us. They'll tell you in the morning, like, we think it's going to open at 250 or 200. When I woke up, it said 200, and then it quickly jumped up to 250. And so you bid how much you're willing to spend and what's your max amount of shares. Okay, so you could say I'm willing to bid 500 per share, and I want to buy 3 shares, as an example. What I'm looking to do is what most financial people would tell you not to do. I'm getting in and getting out. So I'm looking for the jump today, and I'm going to try to take my profit and get back out. That does get taxed pretty heavy. And Sarge messaged on my community post that he wanted me to mention that, yes, the government very much is looking to tax crypto. They've wanted to for a long time. Nobody should be surprised by that. Hey, Miss Southern Belle. And surprise, surprise to all of us in the silver community, you're supposed to pay taxes on your profits if you sell silver too, right? Just telling you what the law is. I know some people out there are not doing it, but you are supposed to. The government does, no government likes anonymous money. They just don't. They don't like untraceable money. So yes, they have wanted to figure out a way to capture who's using crypto and be able to tax it. So that shouldn't be a surprise. What the tax rate is going to be on that, it's probably going to be high. If you do what I'm doing, which is like, flipping and day trading and swing trading, things like that, where it's a very short period of time, less than 6 months, less than a year, you're gonna be taxed at a higher rate, but it's taxed on your gains. Okay, and that's, nobody could say for sure how this is going to work with the Bitcoin taxing and the crypto taxing, because I don't think the law is written yet. But with all other investments, stocks, things like that, it's taxed on your gains. So if, for example, if I made 100% profit selling some corporation stock, right? Let's say I'm over by Powerline, so we'll say Powerline stock. How are you doing? It's good to see you. Then I'm not taxed 100% of that. I'm taxed 60% of my profit. Okay, so I hope that makes sense to people. Coinbase is going to be an interesting launch today. I checked it before I went out on the lunch break here, and it was saying, like 250 was the predicted amount that it was supposed to launch at 250. But it's, got this going while I'm working. Awesome, thank you, Adrian and Nico. 250 was the projected launch. I would say I won't be surprised if it goes up to 350 before the day. And if I'm lucky, I'll catch that on one of my breaks, sell and get out, and I will take that profit and I'll pay my taxes on that profit, because I say, you know what, do I love paying taxes? No. I think who does, right? But do things legally, folks. Do things by the books, and the government's wanted after that for a long time. So nobody should be surprised by that. All right, so those of you who are here, we're about 15 minutes in. Is anybody in on the Coinbase launch today? Does anybody get any money in the game? Drawing live, thank you for tuning in from Cambodia. I appreciate that. Have a good night too. It's about 12:20 here. I can't see my watch while I'm live streaming. I can't see the phone while I'm live streaming, and I don't have my watch on. So do any of you guys have any money in on this IPO? And while I'm waiting on that, no? Just coins? Yep. Okay. Why do I talk about this stuff on a prepping channel? Because, as I've said many, many times, financial preparedness, no. But you do the swing trading? Okay. Did you have any money in Dogcoin, Rob? Because Dogcoin made a nice profit last night, overnight. I woke up and I sold some of that, took some money out. Just bullion, okay. Why do I talk about this on a prepping channel? Because financial preparedness is survival. Just to repeat myself, I know I've said this many, many times, but 95% of your emergencies, you're gonna I do have some crypto, Bitcoin, and ETH. Yep, good stuff. 95% of your emergencies, money would sure help you. Money will get you out of a lot of jams. Now, the people who say, you know, if we hit a real bad SHTF, crypto's not going to do you any good. 2016, nice. You must have a nice little profit going then. Yeah, that's true. Like if we had, let's say we had a really catastrophic situation like an EMP. I love cash. Cash should be part of your investment too, I think. You definitely need to keep some back. But if we had an EMP or a coronal mass ejection or something like that and all the systems started getting knocked out, well, it sure would stink to have a lot of money tied up in there, but that's why I take my profits out on a regular basis. And sold a lot, bought a Ford Mustang. I love that, nice. That's how you YOLO. That's how you YOLO. Same thing with silver and gold though, right? Like a lot of people will say, if we have an SHTF, silver and gold's not gonna do you any good. Well, it kind of depends on what your SHTF is, right? Like, so if it's a zombie apocalypse, maybe silver and gold's not gonna do you too good. But buying land, that is an awesome investment. There you go. That is a tangible asset that you can turn into profit, right? You can do things with it to make more money. That's what I'm talking about. But what if my SHTF is that I had a tornado that wrecked my house and my precious metals were in a safe, so I can use those to rebuild, to rebuy. What if we had, a financial disaster? The day silver and gold moonshot will be ugly for all of society. Yeah, who knows when that's going to happen? Silver and gold seems to have flatlined for the moment. I don't think this is the end for them. I think that a lot of people this is probably a whole nother video, but silver and gold, the reason why it's not going up has to do with, how money, the value of metals is artificially suppressed. But also a lot of people there's those of us who are in the community who are hardcore long-term investors in silver and gold, but there's also a lot of people who are casual investors and they move money around a lot, right? So if you saw other investments like some of the stocks in NASDAQ were dropping this week, all that is people are moving money around. It's not that so let's say you had Powerlines Corporation and it drops by $10 this week. It's not necessarily always that Powerlines Corporation is getting some bad news. Sometimes it's that the people who own that want to move some money into another investment, Coinbase or whatever, right? And when a big player like Warren Buffett does this, it really can move the market. So, so what if my emergency was like I had a medical emergency or I lost my job or something like that? Well, I can liquidate precious metals pretty darn easy. And believe me, when you're in those situations, that's going to feel like an SHTF. So once again, cash, precious metals, it's just a complete fallacy when people say, well, they won't do you any good. I disagree with that, and I'll die on that hill. Gold and silver are liquid when it comes to... Yep, absolutely. They're very liquid. not that I'm going to do this, but I could take my stack right now down to my local coin shop and he's going to give me a pretty fair price on it and I could walk away with cash in my hand. Remember, you got to pay taxes on that, or you're supposed to. And I don't know, I've never sold a large quantity of that, so I don't know, do you have to, if those of you who have maybe, do you have to fill out forms? I would think you did, because I would think he has to report that, your local coin shop or whatever. So that's where we're at. I'm gonna check it again in a little while to see if Coinbase if it's launched, because it's gonna be a fun little roller coaster to watch. And if you do something like this, like I did the Roblox Direct IPO a couple weeks ago, made a little bit of money on that. if you don't, like if there's a big sell-off and you miss it, if you miss your opportunity to sell, don't panic. If I do sell, how do I do it on the street level? Okay. Yeah, and that's, you know, bartering is a whole different thing, right? Like, so if I've got a friend who gives me farm fresh eggs, if I wanted to give him an ounce of silver per month for, you know, say 4 weeks of fresh eggs, you know, that's between me and him, and there's no record of that. So bartering is like a whole different thing. And if we hit, you know, in countries where they've had a real bad Shtf, where they've had economic collapse, you know, what I've read is that a lot of times these little black markets will pop up and people will do some bartering. Collapse of the Soviet Union is one. Where was if those of you guys who know who Furfel is, was that Argentina, right? Argentina. He talked about that there was these markets where people could go get produce and things like that, and they would take off their bracelets, their gold bracelets, chop off a piece of gold, and bartering is illegal? Seriously? I'm gonna have to look that up. I didn't know that. Okay, so disregard what I said earlier. Don't do any bartering. Yeah. Are you serious? Scrapping, hoarding, tinkering, fun? That I did not know that. So remember, my videos are just for your entertainment purposes only. And tell that and know their streaming thoughts. Bartering without paying the tax. Well, okay, all right. So you have to pay the tax, man. Okay. So I don't even know how you do that on your tax forms, but because it can't be taxed. Okay. All right, well, I learned something new there, so be careful about breaking the law. Don't ever barter, you know, in some countries. I'm going to look that up. Hey, Angie Hart, I'm going to look that up. I don't know. That's news to me. So what about, like, if I do, hypothetically speaking, like if I have a trade going with my neighbors where I grow rosemary and they grow tomatoes, you're saying that I can't do an over-the-fence neighborly trade, that's illegal? Or is it because precious metals are also, especially bullion, is considered money? So that's some stuff we'll have to research a little bit more. Which, by the way, you know, tomatoes might be kind of a good currency also in SHTF, and growing your own medicinal herbs and things like that. I always grow oregano and rosemary because they have a lot of medicinal qualities. And you know, I'm trying to think of some other good ones to grow at home. You can donate once. They can donate once. The trade is the issue. Interesting. All right, I got to do some research on it. So I appreciate you guys keeping me honest on that and making sure we get out good information. I got to start wrapping it up here. I got to have to get back to work. So let's, if anybody has any videos that they want to promote, anything you got coming out this week, and while you all are typing that up, please make sure you visit each other's channels. I really like to encourage people who are content creators to support other content creators. Buying eggs currently from a friend. Guess they have to. Yeah, I guess they're going to have to. I guess so. No, actually, I knew if it was cash, I knew that you are supposed to claim that. I'm surprised to hear that if I wanted to trade like rosemary for tomatoes, for example, I'm surprised that I would have to claim that. That seems strange to me, but I will do my research and try to find out some more on that. That's actually probably a good topic for another video. So what do I have coming out this week? On Friday night, I have a video coming out about buying seeds. It is not too late to buy your seeds. It's not too late to plant your seeds. Next week, I have an Earth Day video coming out. So that's going to be on, I think Thursday is Earth Day, and kind of talking to you a little bit about what I'm doing on my little property. That's all I got in the bucket right now. I used to have a bunch planned that were in the system ready to go. I kind of fell behind, so I need to start well, I do have some, but I'm holding those back for later in the year. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. How's Greece right now? What's the weather like there? So, yeah, I got to get working on recording some videos. I hope you guys enjoyed the one last night about inefficient stacker. I don't think he's seen it yet because I don't think he's commented or anything like that. And I even tagged him on Instagram. But if you haven't seen that, it's a little kind of a response roast to an efficient stacker, and I threw in some stuff about Bricktown in there. I appreciate you guys joining ladies and gentlemen, joining me on your lunch break here. It's 7:38. I hope you all are having a good Wednesday. Let's get to the weekend. If you haven't already done so, please consider giving me a thumbs up. I think that's going to be it for today. I'm going to have to get back into the building here before my lunch breaks up. So you all have a good day, and have fun. If you're in on this Coinbase IPO, have some fun. Let's make some money. Keep planting your seeds. Keep stacking your silver. Always a pleasure for me too. This is Prep.